A document in the United States is the insurance contract. The conditions of this policy are all parties involved must be playing with a full deck. Hopefully we are. And then it says, please refer to your policy should you need help. In a moment, I'm going to ask you please to hold up your card, if you will, and announce loudly what card you have. Please, would you tell us what your card is and hold it up and show everyone? It is the
King of Hearts.
The King of Hearts, and hopefully our insurance policy covers all our needs. Thank you. I have a calendar, and this calendar has every day of the year from January 1st to December 31st. And may I hand you this calendar? And I'm just going to have you hold on to that in a minute. Okay, I'll just have you hold on to the calendar. A deck of cards that we shuffle, and this way. Would you agree that this deck is as mixed up as I am? Very good, thank you. Fully shuffled. And I am going to ask, if you will, just to say stop at any time.
Stop.
Very good. I'm going to have you please, without looking at it, we'll set that card down. You could have had any card, but that was the card you wanted. You got it. Okay. You have a calendar. It's rubber banded shut. Is that correct? Someone earlier today was thinking of a month and a day. Is that correct? And I will ask, that was you? You thought of a month and a day. Barely thought of it. I have no idea what it is. No one has any idea what it is. Is that correct? Correct. Now, I am going to ask you now, if you will, to announce out loud the month you were thinking of.
May.
The month of May. Okay. And now I'm going to ask you, would you please tell us what day in that month were you thinking of?
The 10th.
May the 10th. Now, you could have thought of any day in the year, and you just wanted May the 10th, and that's cool. Now, you've got the calendar. I'm going to ask you please to remove the rubber band from the calendar, and then I'm going to have you please tell all of us present something you notice about that calendar. Every day of the week inside that calendar, go ahead please, just look through, you'll notice there's a playing card handwritten in every single date in that calendar. Is that correct? Randomly written, yes? Now, I'm going to ask you please to turn to the month of May. I'll have you turn to the month of May. And you selected May the 10th. I'm going to ask you please to look at May the 9th. And when you turn to May the 9th, and that's, you're doing great. And if you look at May the 9th, can you tell us what card is handwritten May the 9th?
Two of diamonds.
Two of diamonds. But you didn't select May the 9th. Had you selected May 11th, what card is written at May 11th?
Three of hearts.
Three of hearts. But you didn't select that, did you? You selected May the 10th. May the 10th. Let's see if we have synchronicity. And what is that? Our goal is to connect with the patients. Our goal with the patients is to establish rapport so that we're on the same page together. You selected a date totally at random hours ago, told no one. Only you know. You now shared with us, and you have the calendar, and you looked at the calendar, and you told us different cards at different dates. May the 10th was the date you selected. Would you please tell us what card is written at May the 10th?
Queen of Diamonds.
The Queen of Diamonds. You selected a card at random from a deck that was shuffled. Yes?
Yes.
Would you please pick up the card and announce out loud what card you selected at random?
Queen of Diamonds.
Thank you. Thank you. It has often been said, never judge a book by its cover. I actually buy books based on their covers. Fatal Sins, written by Daniel Steele's nephew, David Steele, soon to become a TV miniseries, no doubt, reminds us that the single greatest fatal sin we want to avoid is failure to obtain informed consent. We want to be certain to discuss with patients risks, side effects, benefits, med-med interactions, and then obtain their informed consent before we begin the initiation of the medication. Fatal sins. If I may, I'm looking for someone who's comfortable with his or her vision so that you won't be embarrassed at all to utilize the book. Anybody comfortable enough? Because I'm going to ask you to look through the book may I? Very good. I'm going to ask you please to tell us how many pages there are in the book. And you need not be psychic, you may turn to the last page.
280.
280. And I'm going to ask you all please to allow me the poetic license of saying 300 pages. It makes the math easier. In the standard galley proof of a hardback book published in the United States, 300 pages has approximately 200 to 400 words per page. 300 pages, 400 words, approximately 120,000 words. In a moment, not yet, in a moment, I'm going to ask you please to open the book to any page you want within the body of the text. And I'm going to ask you in a moment to scan down the book for a word. For today's purposes, I'm going to ask you please to select the biggest word, the longest word, the most letters, the most syllables, because that will make this the most impressive. Now, if, as we say in psychiatry, you are conflicted between two words, you may select two of the longest, most syllabled words you can find. Now, if you open to a page and you don't like that page, while some may say to you, you may change your mind, I want you to keep the mind you have. However, you may change the page. Okay? So please, open the book, and I want you to, once you find a page that you like, I'm going to ask you to silently scan down that page for the biggest word, the longest word, the most letters, the most syllables. And if you're conflicted between two words, you may select two. Once you have that word, I just want you to say, Dave, I've got my word.
Got my word.
Excellent. I'm going to have you close the book if you will. I will come back and take the book back from you. Please remember your word, okay, or words. And we'll set this here. And then I am going to ask, may I hand you the dictionary? Thank you. And I'm going to ask, if you will, yes, you're wrong, Beth. I'm going to have you, Beth, I'm going to have you just say stop at any time. I'm going to have you please look at the word at which you stop. I cannot see it. Got it? Is that okay? You stop me at two random pages. I have no idea what they are, but I'm going to ask you please, actually, to look at the 2 page numbers. When I step away, I'm going to have you turn to those 2 pages in the dictionary. Please. We have a couple of words floating around. Because of the late hour, I won't subject you all to more. We'll wrap with one last visual after this. You selected 1 or 2 words from Fatal Sins. 1 or 2. Just one. Please do not tell us your word. Please share aloud with us just the first letter of your word. First letter was
L.
L. The letter L in and of itself doesn't tell us a whole lot. When patients first present to us, metaphorically, when we open their chart, the first letter goes in, an L. The next time they come to us, we get more information as we gather data, as we assist the patient in developing insight. We may get another letter, an O, then maybe a U, maybe a D. You see, the unconscious mind goes to a word that has meaning, and if we get this right, I want you to be real excited, because the unconscious mind goes to a word that reminds us that inside the patient, the unconscious is screaming. It's wanting to let out what is really bothering the patient. And so the patient, through therapy, becomes an LOUDSPE, a loudspeaker. Is that correct? Thank you. Thank you. Please save your thoughts. Will only encourage me to do more. Words were selected in the back. That's you selected a word, am I right? Okay. And then you turned to 2 pages at random in your dictionary, is that correct?
No, I turned to the pages.
Yes, that
Yes.
came up with. Yes, you turned to those 2 pages where you stopped me at random. And you're looking at those 2 pages now. And there are 2 columns of defined words on both pages. Is that correct? So we've got 4 columns of defined words. 4 columns. And I'm going to ask, what column would you like? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 3. I'm going to have you please look at column 3. And I'm going to have you please look at the first bold print. Don't tell me. Bold print defined word at the top of column 3. I'm getting an impression best from you that the word you're thinking of is not just a word, it's a name. And in fact, it reminds us that when we see patients, we want to remember them not as numbers, not as diseases, not as diagnoses. We want to remember them as a name, because I'm getting the impression of Robert. Is that correct? I'm not getting a real strong response. That's okay. Okay, hold on to that, because you're looking at 2 columns of defined words on 2 different pages, yes? And column number 3 was the one that was selected at random, yes? And you're looking at the first bold print defined word at the top of column 3, yes? Please focus on that, concentrate on it, because that word reminds us that when we make a diagnosis, we have to be very, very careful that the diagnosis is accurate. This is most likely the reason that DMDD came into being, because we didn't want to overreact, diagnosing all children and adolescents with bipolar disorder. Instead, we wanted to have a diagnosis we could use after the age of 6 and before the age of 18, because otherwise we create a prior existing condition for our patients that will follow them for life. And in fact, the word you're looking at, actually, if I'm right, is E-A-R-M-A-R-K, it's earmark. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, I thought I would wrap with this. Today, we've covered a lot of topics. We've covered a whole lot of items and issues. And there we go. Light, energy. The key is this. The key is, I want you all to carry the energy with you from today's meeting, so that from today's meeting, you will be able, for our patient's sake, to bring the energy that you picked up here today, and hopefully bring the light bulb back to life with some energy for the patients. In fact, if you will hold your hands out for me, I'm going to set that in, and I want everyone, please, I'll have you stand up and face everyone. Thank you, because I want you all to focus on Casey's hands, and I'll turn you around, because as you focus, hopefully all your energy today will come together and light the lives of your patients to bring them back to health and well-being. Casey, thank you very, very much for your help. Thank you all very, very much.